Warm up 1, 1/2 plus 4/3. Express the answer as an improper fraction or a proper fraction, whichever is needed. No mixed numbers. To get the answer for this, you have to first find a common denominator. To find the common denominator, list the multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. See if you can find the least number that shows up in both of them, which is what? 6. 2 has to be multiplied by 3 to get a 6, so multiply this 1 above it by 3 to get 3. 3 has to be multiplied by 2 to get a 6. Multiply the 4 above it by 2 to get 8. So it was 2 times 3 to get 6, and then 1 times 3 to get 3. And in this case here, 3 times 2 is going to be 6, and then above it you'll have 4 times 2 to get 8. Add this and this together, and you'll get an answer of 11 over 6. Warm up 2, 7 over 2 plus 6 over 5. Alright, if you missed it, here's what you have to do. To get the common denominator, you have to find the least common multiple, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then for 5, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. The least number that shows up in both would be 10. So I have to multiply 2 by 5 to get 10, so 7 times 5 is 35. And 5 times 2 is 10, so 6 times 2 is 12. 35 plus 12 is 47. Over 10 is the final answer. Warm up number 3, 1 over 3 plus 1 over 5. To start, you need a common denominator, and to get that you need to know the multiples of 3, which would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. And for 5, the multiples are 5, 10, 15, 20. The lowest number that shows up in both of them is what? 15. In order to get a 15 from this 3, I have to multiply by 5. So I multiply this 1 by 5 to get 5. Multiply the 5 by 3 to get 15, so 1 times 3 is 3. 5 plus 3 is 8, and put that over 15. Pick a number from 1 to 5. I'll pick 2 numbers. The winning numbers today are 4 and 2. For the homework check, you must have all work shown for each problem. For example, if your problem was this, then you need to have the problem written down with everything that goes with it. If it were A, B, C, D, and E, and let's say you were given this and you had to find that, then you know that DE is 3. You should also know that DE will be equal to BE by rule. Therefore, that means BE, which is this, would equal 3. You have the problem, and you have 3 pieces of information, including the final answer. You guys have got to show all work for each problem. You cannot bring up answers and problems only. It's not going to work. Also, if this were your problem for a cylinder, and let's say that R were 2 and this were 10 in terms of inches, first you have to write out the formula, and then you have to plug in the numbers that you know, and then you have to simplify. 2 squared is 4, and then you still have to simplify. 4 times 10 is 40. Then and only then should you be writing down the final answer. And in this case, the final answer would be 125.66 inches cubed. Homework answers, you can check these at your desk. Number 1 is 60. 2 is 120. 3 is 8. 4 is 11. 5 is 8. 6 is 163.28. 7 is 6,280. 8 should be rounded to the hundredths place, and that is 0.27, 50.27. 9 should also be rounded to the hundredths place. That's 0.56, 34.56. And 10 rounded to the hundredths place, 43.98. Any questions over the homework from last night? Objectives for today: to solve for the radius, height, and volume of a cylinder. The learning targets: to solve a formula for different variables. Example number 1. This is the formula, and the R stands for radius and the H for height. We're going to solve for H, for R, and for V before we leave today. In this problem, we're going to solve for the volume, just straightforward volume. This is 4 inches, and the height is 10 inches. The first thing you have to do is write out the formula, V equals pi R squared H, and then plug in everything that you know. We know R, so that's R squared, and H is 10. Simplify the problem. 4 squared is 16. And 16 times 10 is 160. It's only now that you can go through and find the answer to the problem. You are going to use the pi button on the calculator and then multiply by 160. You should come out with an answer of 502.65 inches cubed. If you don't put the units cubed at the end of it, it will not count. If you don't round to the right place, it will not count. If you put units and don't put cubed on it, it will not count. This is the final answer. Take note of the work and the steps involved. Make sure you write them underneath of each other. Don't scatter them across the paper all over the place. Practice number 1. The cylinder has a radius of 3 centimeters and a height of 12 centimeters. Find the volume. Bonus number 1. 1/3 plus 6/5. No mixed numbers. Express your answer as a proper or improper fraction, as needed. For the bonus answer, you must have a common denominator of 15. That means you had to multiply by 5 here, so when you do that on the top, you get a 5. Multiply by 3 here. 6 times 3 is 18. So it should be 23 over 15. Solution for practice 1. Write out the formula first, pi R squared H, and then go back and fill in what you know. R is 3 and H is 12. Now simplify R squared to get 9, and then simplify 9 times 12 to get 108. Now you can find the final answer, pi times 108, 339.29, and that is centimeters cubed, which you must have in your answer or it will not be counted. Practice number 2. The cylinder has a radius of 6 feet and a height of 20 feet. Find the volume. Bonus number 3. 7 over 8 minus 1 over 4. For this one, you need a common denominator. The least common number between 8 and 4 for the multiples is what? 8. And I meant to write 8 here, so we'll just write over top of that. That is 8. You don't have to change the first one, it stays the same. But I multiplied by 2 here, so 1 times 2 is 2. Therefore, the final answer is 5/8. Solution for practice 2. Write out the formula first. V equals pi r squared h. Plug in what you know. R is 6. We square it. And h is 20. Simplify by squaring the r, which is 36. Now multiply 36 by 20 to get 720. And now you can find the final answer by doing pi times 720, which is 2261.95 feet cubed. If you have this, come and get it. Example number 3. In this case, you are given the volume, but you don't know the height. You do know the radius is 6 meters. The volume is given to you, so is the radius, but you need to solve for the height. Start by writing out the formula. V equals pi r squared h. And plug in everything that you know. The volume was given to you. It's 400. 400 equals pi times r squared, which is 6 squared. And we don't know h, so you have to write down h. Next, simplify. 6 squared is 36. Now you have to solve for h, and in order to do that, you must divide by what is beside of h. You have pi and 36. Therefore, you have to divide 400 by 36 pi. That will give you the value for h. To get h by itself, you must divide by what is next to h. That's 36 and pi. In your calculator, you would do it like the following. Lost my ruler. There it is. Turn the calculator screen on. In your calculator, you would do 400 divided, not the fraction bar, and then left-hand parenthesis, 36 times pi. Hit enter and you come back with 3.54 meters for the value of the height. It's not meters cubed because you're not looking for volume. You're looking for the measure of the height. That's a distance. Distance is simply units to the first power. No exponent on it. Practice number 3. The cylinder has a volume of 550 centimeters cubed. The radius is 8 centimeters. You need to find the height. Bonus number 5. 4/9 minus 1/2. Find the least common multiple between 9 and 2. You have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on. For 9, you have 9, 18, 27, 36. What number is the lowest that they have in common? 18. So it should be 18 for the common denominator. 9 times 2 is 18. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 9 is 18. 1 times 9 is 9. 8 minus 9 is a -1. Always put the negative sign directly to the left of the fraction bar. Do not write anything like this or this. Solution for practice 3. Step 1 is to write out the formula. V equals pi r squared h. And then plug in what you know. 550 is the volume. Put that in. Set it equal to pi times r squared. We know what r is, so we write 8 squared. We don't know h, so we put h. Go back and simplify 8 squared to make it 64. And now to get the h by itself, you have to divide by what's next to it. Pi times 64. 550 divided by 64 pi will give you h. So put that in your calculator. 550 divided by the quantity of 64 times pi. You should get 2.0 .74, and that would be centimeters only. Example number 5. You're given the volume, you're given the height, but you don't know the radius. So you must start with the formula, V equals pi r squared h, and plug in everything you know. 900 is V, and we don't know r, so we just write r squared. The h we do know, it is 16. Now there's nothing left to simplify in here, you just simply need to start dividing. So it would be 900 divided by the items that are with r squared, pi and 16. We need to get rid of these, put them on the other side, divide 900 by 16 pi. R squared stays by itself. Now in your calculator, 900 divided by 16 times pi is going to be 17.9049311. Leave this number in your calculator. Do not round that number. Even on your work, you would write out 17.9049311 and set it equal to r squared. To get your final answer, what you must do is find the square root of both sides. To get the final answer, you need to do the square root of 17.9049311 and the square root of r squared. The square root of r squared is easy. It's just simply r. But then in your calculator, find the square root of that long decimal and round it to the hundredths place. You come back with 4.23 meters. That is the answer to the problem. Homework for tonight.